Who? What? Where? It's as good as a guess. Evening Karak's guessing game.
Okay, time to have a little fun and maybe some time for a little revenge. As throughout the month, we were playing guessing game. Aisha has managed to score 6 points, and I a measly 2 points. I get the feeling that I won't be able to catch up. Good for you.
Keep that lead.
And I won't be able to catch up, I know for sure, but I won't back down without a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's now my turn to challenge Aisha. We take a soundbite from a movie, show, games, maybe even a song, and they have to figure out where exactly it's from. So go ahead, Aisha, play the guessing track.
Okay, let's go.
Send Fredo off to do this, send Fredo off to do that. Let Fredo take care of some Mickey Mouse nightclub somewhere. Send Fredo to pick somebody up at the airport. I'm your older brother, Mike, and I was stepped over.
That's the way Pop wanted it.
It ain't the way I wanted it. I can handle things. I'm smart. Not like everybody says. Like dumb. I'm smart, and I want respect.
Okay, Aisha. Finally, an expression of confusion.
Expression of confusion.
You can go ahead, ask your questions.
Can I actually play it again? Because I need to pay attention more. Usually it's the other way around.
I will say this time, listen to the names that are being told.
Yeah, because
and again, certain words.
I'll tell you, again, it's because we switched today.
Yeah.
Usually I'm the one sitting there. But can I guess first? I'll guess once and then I'll listen to it again.
Sure, no problem. You can even ask some questions.
Is it Dumb and Dumber?
No, it's not.
Okay, so...
I don't think a Dumb and Dumber sounds that serious.
I don't know, maybe they had a moment, because usually even when it comes to those super, comedic movies and TV shows, there's always that one scene at the very end or like at the climax when it becomes very dramatic and serious.
Yeah.
So I thought it was like, maybe it's one of those scenes, so let me just re-listen to it again, because I was not paying attention.
Okay.
Let's go, okay.
Send Fredo off to do this, send Fredo off to do that. Let Fredo take care of some Mickey Mouse nightclub somewhere. Send Fredo to pick somebody up at the airport. I'm your older brother, Mike, and I was stepped over.
That's the way Pop wanted it.
It ain't the way I wanted it. I can handle things. I'm smart. Not like everybody says. Like dumb. I'm smart, and I want respect.
Monty Python?
No.
No.
That is... Wow, what a guess, but it's no, you're not even close.
Okay.
You still have another guess.
Let me start with my questions first.
Go ahead.
Okay. Movie?
It is a movie.
Is it from the 90s?
No.
2000s?
No.
Older than that?
Yes.
Older than that. Is it... What's it called? Because that is actually one of my initial guesses, but I forgot. Is it Austin Powers?
Not at all. No way.
Really?
No. Okay, how about this? It's not a comedy film.
It's not a comedy film.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a second guess, and I'll tell you from now. When you listen to that, listen to the soundtrack. I think it will...
I'm trying. Okay.
It will give you an idea of what this movie could be.
Okay, let's go.
You're nothing to me now. You're not a brother. You're not a friend. I don't want to know you or what you do. I don't want to see you at the hotels. I don't want you near my house. When you see our mother, I want to know a day in advance so I won't be there.
Godfather.
Okay, you got that. You got half of it right. Which Godfather? And if you this is it. This is your last guessing. You have to say which Godfather it is. Because, okay, you can say Godfather and we can end it and I give you half a point. But you have to next guess, and it's the only guess, you have to guess which Godfather it is. Go right ahead.
I hate you so much right now.
This is what you did to me.
No, I gave you easy ones. I gave you things.
You stole me for 2 minutes.
Listen.
And then I guessed it completely wrong.
No, I literally told you the answer last time, but you did not pick up on it. So that was your fault.
I need the satisfaction. I need it. Come on, which Godfather is it? It's a 1 out of 3 chance.
That does not make it any way easier.
I think it's still fair.
It's unfair because I did not watch this movie.
Oh, come on. It's Godfather.
I do not watch The Godfather.
You Gasp. You didn't watch Django, but you guessed it. You didn't watch Breaking Bad, but you guessed it. So you don't got an excuse now.
I didn't watch any of the movies. Coraline, I didn't watch that either.
That too.
But those are easy. Like those are newer. Okay, and they did not have 3 versions. I listened to the second one last time.
One last time.
Let me see if that can help me somehow.
You're nothing to me now. You're not a brother. You're not a friend. I don't want to know you or what you do. I don't want to see you at the hotels. I don't want you near my house. When you see our mother, I want to know a day in advance so I won't be there.
I'm scared.
Do you know the general gist of Godfather 1 at least? Or?
No, that's the thing. I do not. That's what I'm trying to guess. All I remember is the wedding. You come to me on my daughter's wedding. That's all I remember. And even that, I think it's from the first one. So I'm trying to figure it out. Like, I feel like it's probably the first or the third one. I'm trying to pick between each of them.
I'm loving this. I'm savoring the irritation in Aisha right now.
Listen, I've always been nice to you.
You can't say I played dirty.
You did play dirty. You really played me dirty today. And you know what? You just wait next Monday, Mikhail.
Okay.
You just wait.
Oh,
I will bring out all guns
Listen,
blazing.
it's because I'm at a losing streak. I'm desperate. I need that point. Okay.
There's a 3.
You're gonna put your Are you sure?
Godfather 3.
Godfather 3.
Yeah.
You can't go back.
Yeah, I'm not going. I'm closing my eyes.
And the answer is
No.
part 2.
That's it. I knew it.
Yes.
I knew it.
I get that point.
No, I get half a point.
You get half a point.
We both get half points.
So
half.
So you're now 6.5.
And you are 2.5.
I am 2.5.
2.5. Because that's still cheating, okay?
It does feel good to just kind of win halfway. So
honestly, it's still 3.5 lead. And Mikhail, I will show you on Monday.
Okay.
You're gonna regret doing this.
I did. I know I got this coming.
You played me dirty. Listen, every single time I played it in your favor.
I had no choice.
I picked everything you've watched.
I had to pull out the big guns.
Everything you've watched.
If anything, you ought to watch some Godfather. So, you know.
Now you left a terrible memory associated with it. Hope you're happy with that.
Oh no,
Hope you're happy.
that's not the intention.
Too bad.
Okay.
Mikhail won finally. Halfway, but 3 points and a half lead. That still works, at least not just 3. And hopefully I'm gonna get that 4-point lead next Monday.
Inshallah. But coming up next, we're going to be doing our exclusive review of Nier Replicant. So stay tuned for that and so much more right here on the Evening Karak.
Is it an epic or epic failure? The Big Review. Movies, games, and TV in focus.
Pulse 95.
All right, time for that special review, Nier Replicant. This is a game that is been long in the making and long in the waiting. A lot of people assume it would never actually happen, but I think it's thanks all to Nier Automata and its gradual popularity and success, and I think just the fans absolutely loving this franchise, that Square Enix felt the need to go back and remake a criminally underrated game, which was Nier, and now it's called Nier Replicant.
Hold on, say the entire number. Let's go.
Oh my God, Nier Replicant version 1.22447487139.
And there's ... which means it continues. I don't know what that means.
It's just
Square Enix being Square Enix, because this story, okay, I'm talking about this from the point of view of somebody who hasn't played any Nier game, despite the fact that I did have Nier Automata downloaded for 3 years now. And Mikey is the person who played it not too long ago.
Yeah.
And he is, he's well informed about the actual sequel series, and you've played actually Nier a long time ago on the PS3, but you did not finish it. Is that correct?
I couldn't finish it. I don't know why, because at the time it wasn't my kind of game. It was thing about Nier, just generally the franchise, is the way the gameplay is and the general design of it is unconventional.
Yeah.
Now, that could throw people off, and it did throw me off back then.
Oh, yeah.
But as I played Nier Automata, I embraced all the unconventional ways that this game was designed.
Especially since this game in particular, even the previous ones, the actual ones from the PlayStation 3, it is a spin-off from the Drakengard series. So whatever happened there, I mean, Square Enix is notorious for having several endings sometimes for a certain game. And that usually happens a lot in JRPGs. They're notorious for that. And if you play Drakengard, the fifth ending leads up to what's happening in Nier. And even in Nier Automata, and it's just complete chaos. I tried to read up about the lore. It took me maybe an hour and a half of searching articles to
very
finally
complex
to get the gist of it. But the gist of it right now, at least if you want to play the game, the entirety of the game centers around, it's in a post-apocalyptic Earth, and it centers around your character, which I accidentally named Aisha, by the way.
I called it Mikhail.
Mikhail, but it works.
Yeah.
I called mine Aisha. I thought they just wanted it to save the game. I didn't realize it's to name my character, so it looks funny when his sister goes like, "I'm gonna make food for Aisha," and I'm like, "Okay, you can make food
it's
for
cute,
me." It's
but,
cute,
you
but
know.
it doesn't work. But anyway, your character has a sister who is infected by the Black Scroll, which is a very strange, interesting sort of disease that has swept through the entirety of Earth that led to the whole post-apocalyptic world, where even though they live in smaller villages that are very different, very weird, but they are still reminiscent of some old kind of technologies, which is like, railing systems, some old buildings, all kinds of factories and whatnot, because that time is way past, like thousands and thousands and years
It's like
ago.
a post-apocalyptic future that has reverted back to the past.
Exactly. And also because of this Black Skull, and also because of the events from Drakengard that led to this, there's also the introduction of something called the Shades, right? And those are like, they also kind of remind me of the Nobodies and the
Kingdom Hearts,
where they're just inanimate kind of black things that are just all around the entirety of Earth, and these caused lots of problems and obviously hurt a lot of people. Now, the story, to be honest, is, again, it's simultaneously very heavy, but at the same time, I'm taking my time and enjoying it, just slowly uncovering things. And at the same time, it has this unsettling feeling to the entirety of the environment, where it feels like an entire ghost town, but expanded throughout the entire world.
It is certainly a story that deals with hopefulness, but it can get a little sad here and there, and it's reflected on the tragedy of the characters.
Yoko Taro.
And
What are you doing
This is
to us?
his style as a director and a game designer.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people really like it because it can come off as simple and a bit unique, but also it deals with complex themes, of death and of friendship, of loss and hopelessness. Is that a word? But I think a lot of people would really enjoy what the game is trying to offer. But bear in mind, I will say this: it requires patience.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's a story that it takes a lot of time for it to unfold, and maybe some people would play those first few hours and it's like, I'm not feeling it. I don't know if I want to keep playing this, but I stress, and I can't stress this enough, but it's a game that you need to be patient, and the more you play it, the more it really starts to just feel.
And it pays off eventually.
It really pays off, and I mean, that's just the story. If we're talking about the graphics itself is it's beautiful. It's been enhanced. There's a lot of big difference compared to the old gen version of itself. And then it's complemented by a completely revamped combat mechanics, which they actually brought from Nier Automata. So the combat is very fast-paced, it's focused, it's clean, and it's got a lot of variety in terms of how you can approach every combat scenario.
Absolutely.
And we're not even talking about the boss fights. I think the boss fights are like, I would say,
They're
the bread
engaging.
and butter
They're very engaging
of this game.
I thought that, at some point I'm going to get very scared of the game, but it's the combat mechanics that they're very easy to adapt to. This is coming from somebody who either gets immersed so much in the game she forgets what she's doing and ends up making stupid mistakes, and then I get frustrated. But no, even when you make those stupid mistakes, you realize that, I deserve that because I did something that is kind of stupid, or I wasn't paying attention. But it's very easy to get used to, very adaptable. The different mechanics, whether it's counterattack or defending yourself, using the spells, using your weapon, it is so easy to catch up with. It's so easy to learn. It wasn't very difficult, and I realize that now. I officially admit it. I like games when it comes to open world games or games that require combat that usually have a fast-paced character. I mean, I complained about Ghost of Tsushima, how it felt incredibly slow and just it's like it felt heavy. Just playing as a character felt heavy, and it kind of makes sense because you're trying to emulate an actual setting, an actual samurai. They're probably carrying a lot of heavy weights, whether it's the weapon or the different whatever they're wearing, etc., their costume. So I'm like, that is fine. I will accept in Ghost of Tsushima. But here, it's just so much fun. Just even the way that your character just kind of counter attacks, the way it dodges. I loved every
Very
season.
responsive.
Incredibly responsive. And the bosses, you get them instantly, one after the other, but they're so easy. They weren't hard at all. And I'm playing on normal, so that's telling you something. I'm playing on normal, I'm telling you it's easy, but I'm not even halfway throughout the game, and we're not done talking about the review of Nier Replicant. We're going to continue that. We're going to be talking about the soundtrack, the characters, and some more about the story, and just all in all, our full impressions of this super fun game. Coming right up next, right here on the Evening Karak.
This is Pulse 95.
Just take a second. This music is beautiful.
This is the kind of music you'll be hearing when you play Nier Replicant. This is just a little sample, because every place, or at least every area of the world, has a story to tell through the music. And I think that is something that amplifies the emotional experience you have
Absolutely.
with the storytelling, the characters, and just the absolute wonder of this post-apocalyptic world. Because as you traverse it, the music is almost telling you, in a way, what has happened or what's been lost.
Exactly. It just tells you to take a moment and just listen to it. Now, when I first listened to this music, I was mesmerized, and I thought, it feels very sad. It feels like you said, it's telling me a story. It's like somebody reminiscing. And then when I got to the fountain and I heard one of the characters, her name is Devila, she starts singing, and I was like, you know what? I'm not playing. I'm gonna sit and listen to her sing. And it was just beautiful, to say the least. Just her singing on and on and on. And I just really did not want to move from my area, because the moment you do, you cannot hear her sing anymore.
Which makes for some really great mixing, because it's all just very seamless as you're moving from one place to another, like going into the tavern and hearing her sing as you walk out to do your next quest, and it's almost like in the distance as it passes.
Yes, that part, I love it. When you just run in front of her, and the farther you go, you can hear her, and then suddenly she fades away, and the music just continues, just without her singing, though. I love that. I also love the fact that when you go into a place that is dangerous and it's the first time, the music reflects that completely. You're terrified. There's a whole choir singing. Not gonna lie, the first time I had to go to an area like that, I was terrified. I know I keep saying I get scared. Guys, when it comes to music, that is what usually helps govern my emotions, whether I'm playing or watching anything. It's less about what I see, but more with what I hear. So I'm not gonna ruin it for you guys, but but one of the first times you traverse out of the village and you go into that area, just a choir, just like goosebumps, and you're like, oh my god, you become very alert. But then when you uncover that area, everything is safe again. You hear the true music, and that just tells you about the difference of when you enter somewhere that is dangerous, and after you explore it and everything is fine again, you hear the true music of the land that the land or the area is trying to tell you. It's very reminiscent of that, and it's very beautiful, the fact that the music accompanies the story. You cannot separate
both
them,
of them
at all, and it's a highlight and very important part of the Nier series, and especially Nier Replicant as well.
It makes great use of every moment that you are in this world, and also I would say the visceral set pieces that you are going to sort of uncover as you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, it's a game that does require a bit of patience, because as you're playing it, you're somewhat confused as to what is the beginning of this story and how did everything start. I feel like I'm in the middle of something that is complex and dense, and that could be a little bit overwhelming. But I feel like just step back and play. Let the game guide you.
Absolutely.
And I think as you play, you just succumb to the story itself, and even the characters. You stop asking questions and you enjoy this one, I would say, bittersweet, somber journey of the game itself.
You described it perfectly, because at the beginning I was like, so what now? What is happening? Again, I'm talking from the point of view of somebody who hasn't experienced any Nier game, any Yoko Taro game. Yoko Taro, what are you doing to me? I mean, I just started the game and I'm already having those feelings, even though, unlike other people might feel kind of, soft feelings towards Yona. I'm just angry at her most of the time.
Just a little entitled. I'm like,
no, it's not entitled. I understand that it's about the sibling relationship. And if you remember when we were talking about it off air a couple of days ago, you said that it felt like you were babysitting Yona, and at some point you're like, can we move on from the side quest of her just asking for things and move on to the main quest? And I told you that no, that is actually part of the main quest.
It was essential,
It is essential to the whole experience, because you're playing as the sibling who has to take care of their other sibling, and basically their entire existence is devoted to his sister. So you cannot separate that. Even those small things, when Yona asks you for this thing, go get that for Yona, go do that for Yona, that is important. That is not a small thing that you're forced to do. That is part of the whole experience of basically how tiring it is sometimes to take care of somebody who is unable to experience the world the way they want to, and especially somebody who perhaps sees himself as a burden, because that is actually one of the first things you experience in both the the beginning of the game, and when you actually start playing the game, you kind of get a sense of that even Yona feels like, I do not want to be this way, but this is the way it is. And that is the somberness of the entirety of the game, of all the characters, everybody you pass by. They kind of are tired of what they're living through, but they're like, it is what it is. This is whatever. We've done something to spite somebody, to put us in this sort of reality that is very dark and grim, and we have to live with it. And that is just the small feelings that you will eventually catch up on the more you play this game. So just like Mikhail said, take your time, be patient, and not too long after, like 3-4 hours in, you are completely immersed into the world of Nier Replicant. The combat is a lot of fun. Music is ethereal, to say the least, as you can hear right now. And the characters, the dynamics are also as beautiful. And the story is like the biggest mystery of all. That just makes you, it forces you that I want to keep on playing to discover more, which is why I would easily give the game an 8 out of 10.
I am going to give it an 8 out of 10, but I will say one thing. It is certainly a game that is a love letter to dedicated fans to the cult classic.
Yeah.
I feel it's also a celebration of this franchise, and I'm glad that now it's getting the actual special treatment it deserves.
Yeah.
But one issue I have is maybe that $60 markup is a little too steep for a remake. I'd say but I recommend this game. It's an 8 out of 10. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But just wait for a discount. And I think that way, just wait for a discount.
I think because it's a remake and the fact that they have to upgrade it from from the PlayStation 3, even though the PlayStation 3 isn't that far off from the PlayStation 4, but when it comes to an open world game that is very dynamic, lots of characters, lots of things happening, I feel like that $60 markup is adequate for it. It's perfect for it. It just is enough for the amount of effort they put in to make this world, and that is our review and our score of Nier Replicant.
Yes, and if you've played it yourself and you have your personal critiques, do text us. Join the conversation 4215 Etisalat or do. And guys, don't forget that riddle. We really want you to answer it for you to get the chance to win 500 dirham cash from us, just to make your weekend a little bit more special. And coming up next, we're going to be talking about Nintendo. We got some big news. It seems like they're working on some very unique projects.
Oh, they are. And also Sharjah Co-op. They're also working on some very unique projects just in time for the Eid holidays. Sharjah Co-op Society is running some special promotions, so hurry up and stock up. I mean, you guys have the time right now to go and do that. And also maybe if you're around, pick up Nier Replicant as well. We're going to be taking a short break, and coming right up next is that Nintendo game that drove people insane. Coming right up next, right here on the Evening Karak.
This is Pulse 95.
On the show, we always talk about gaming and the potential of gaming, the benefits of gaming, gaming reviews. But there's one particular story today that I feel is close to home, and I think every gamer has felt this one point or another, is what if we could make our own games? Well, it seems that luckily enough, Nintendo is doing just that for its Nintendo Switch players.
Apparently, first of all, before we get into it, of course, as usual, the ever-loving Nintendo fans were so happy when they heard about this game. They were not. They were absolutely not. They were going like, what are you doing? What is going on? What is this? And it's very sad because they forget that Nintendo's all about celebrating differences, all about, experimenting and doing all kinds of weird gadgety things that might appear gimmicky, but they're super interesting, and they're always a niche group of people who will always enjoy it.
Yeah.
Now this game, or can we call it a game? Is it a game?
I'd call it a video game editor.
A
video game tool.
It is called...
I think comparable to PlayStation's Dreams.
Well, there you go. It's called Game Builder Garage, and it came out of nowhere yesterday. They just announced it on Nintendo's various social media platforms, and basically it's a new software title that's designed to teach beginners the basics of programming and gaming design. And if anything, it just shows that, okay, even though it comes at a price, of course, but it just shows that Nintendo is always willing to invest in all kinds of people and invest in small dev teams and help people reach their dreams, even though their lawyers are very harsh and mean. We get that aside, that legacy aside.
Yeah.
But if you look at the fact that they are, I wouldn't say one of the few, but I'm actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say they are the only ones who are fully celebrating indie games. Now, we know that the PC is usually a good place for indie games, but we see that Nintendo Switch has become the place for trying out and talking about and experiencing indie games, such as the game I just spoke about earlier in the last hour, when during our
Paradise Killer in
the Ramadan binge segment. And we've spoken about this as well when there were rumors that upcoming PlayStation consoles, maybe like from the PlayStation 5 onwards, they're probably perhaps going to be focusing on AAA game titles mostly, if not only. Meanwhile, we have Nintendo and Indie World, for example. Now, we're not saying one is better than the other, but one perhaps favors, or at least is accommodating more to indie games than the other. And again, like we said, the PC exists as a world for all kinds of indie devs. So when we talk about Steam, for example, that is all where you find all kinds of indie games. And that is exactly where they're usually growing and become one of the most successful games out there. So this is interesting, and I love every bit of it. Some people might say, like, this is gimmicky, that is unnecessary. What are you doing? But all in all, I feel like it's a good step.
It is. It's something similar to Super Mario Maker. And what's interesting also about it is that it's going to utilize visual programming. It's going to have pre-built lessons and games. And it's going to be launching later in June. It's called Game Builder Garage. If you've ever had that little spark, that little initiative to be a game developer of some kind, then I think this might be your first small step of many steps to video game programming or developing in any kind of way. Kudos to Nintendo for doing this. I think, again, despite whatever reception there is right now for it, I think the intent is one that is going to be beneficiary to anybody who's really interested in trying to pursue this sort of field.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if you look at, for example, Hades, look at that game. It's an indie game. Even though the developers are well known and they've made some beautiful games before that, look at how successful that game became. Look at how well loved that game is. And it's just because it's an indie game. I mean, you might become one of the creators of the next upcoming crazy, games such as Hades or Paradise Killer and so many much more that have existed within the past couple of years. Coming up next is the winner. We're going to announce the winner to our riddle. Make sure you're tuning in. We're going to play the riddle one last time for you guys to send in your answers. 4215. Etisalat or do.
If you liked this episode of Evening Karak, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.